Hi everyone, welcome to another video. So today's makeup look is actually going to be filmed for another video that I am doing that will likely already be up by the time this video goes up. As you guys all know, I am a YesStyle influencer, and I know there's like a ton of influencers in their program. Like, I know they have a lot. I think they just reached 100,000 members of their program, so it's like not the biggest deal ever, but it definitely still makes me really excited whenever I get accepted to do a campaign. I'm really excited. It'll probably be a bit on the simpler side, although I don't think it will be, just because that's not really my style, and I think it'd be fun to have a YesStyle video where the person talking is maybe wearing a little more makeup than normal. I've definitely been feeling really creative ever since it kind of warmed up a little bit. I really want to do more bright colors. So because it's the evening, I have already, been existing for a while. So all I really did was wash my face. So I'm using this hydrating primer so that I can kind of get some of that hydration back into my face. I recently watched Teresa Is Dead's new video on some of her more recent makeup favorites, like her bite-sized review video, which I love, and she was talking about the Ritual Defeat primer that looks like vampire blood, and oh my gosh, I need to make a video about Teresa made me buy it, because she has convinced me to buy so much stuff, and I think that's another one I'm going to be adding to my list just because of her, because the way she was talking about it just sounds right up my wheelhouse. And I have such dry skin that whenever she's talking about how deathly dry her skin is, I'm just like, yes, I can relate. It's so awful having skin this dry. I know I don't really do makeup reviews on this channel because, I feel like I'm not really super qualified, but I definitely want to make videos someday where I'm kind of just talking about stuff that I like, so that if any of you have a similar skin type to me, that can maybe help you out. I don't really consider myself very super knowledgeable on like the quality of things. I really can only speak for if I liked using it or not, so I wouldn't necessarily call it a review. Maybe I would just say like bite-sized makeup opinions. You think that'd be a good title? Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and use a pore filling primer to fill in my pores as well after this. I'm using my Pat McGrath Labs primer. I still think this is like the best primer ever. And I'm actually almost done with it, which sucks because I had to repurchase it, but I got it when it was like on sale for like $25, so I actually don't feel that bad about repurchasing it. This is literally the only primer I've ever had to repurchase, so I think that speaks about how good it is. I have a lot of makeup and I have a lot of primers because I'm constantly trying new primers to see if it could like do what I want, because I have such high expectations for primers. I always wish it could pay my bills and pay off my mortgage and stuff like that. But so whenever a new primer comes out that advertises such things, I'm like, oh, I want to try it. I know some people get really polarized about hauls because it seems just really trite, but if you guys like seeing things that I buy, then let me know. I don't do hauls often at all. Like, I buy makeup so infrequently right now because I've just not been interested in what's coming out, and I have a pretty large collection, so I really just enjoy using what I have. But whenever stuff comes out that I like a lot, I add it to a list of things I want to buy on sale, and then I wait for the Beautylish or the Sephora Rouge event, and then I buy it all at once. So that's kind of how I do things. It helps me make sure that I don't buy too much at once, because if I were to buy everything I wanted all at once, then I would literally be spending like a couple $1,000s, and I obviously cannot do that all at once because that hurts so bad. So by restricting how many hauls I can do and having kind of a soft cap on how much I can buy in those hauls, I overall buy less stuff. I mean, that's just how it works. So the only major haul I did earlier this year was Becca, just because Becca is going kaput. So that was unplanned, but I do have some things I want to buy during the upcoming spring sales and stuff. So if you guys want to see like a haul of what I did, then I guess just leave a comment. I'll make it. It'll be a Saturday upload, and I guess just I'm kind of looking to pad out my channel with some more content for you guys, just so you guys have more stuff to watch and I can kind of be uploading a little more often. So just let me know. I'm always looking for things, and I know the talky videos are a lot easier to edit. Like, you can film a look and then you wear the same look for another video. Would definitely be easier on me. So I have been talking way too much, so I'm gonna go ahead and start my foundation. I'm gonna go ahead and use my Pat McGrath foundation just because I used the primer, so I was like, let's just play matchy. And I do really like it. I don't use it as fast as I use the primer because I use the primer with literally everything, and I only use this foundation sometimes. Now that it's becoming warmer outside, I definitely do anticipate using this more often because it's such a great summer foundation. I should use it more often though, because the shade match is so nice for me. And I just pumped out like way too much on my hand, so oops. The good thing about this foundation is that it doesn't cake up very easily, so if I do apply too much on my face, it doesn't like go all over the place, so I'll just lay it all out. Yeah, I like put way too much on my hand. I am going to be using this Pony Effect puff. I've actually been really experimenting with using puffs instead of sponges recently to fill out my foundation, and I've actually really liked the effect. I kind of, you know, so every now and then I forget to wet my sponge before I sit down to film, and then I'm like, oh shoot, and now I have to like get back up and wet my sponge, and sometimes I get really lazy and I don't want to do that, so I decided to start trying using this to see what it looks like, because I bought the Pony Effect puffs off Guest Style like 4 months ago, and then I never ever opened them. Somehow I was like, oh, I'll save them for when my cushion sponges get dirty and then I'll use them for that, but I honestly haven't really bought many cushion foundations recently because they dry out before I finish them. So I was like, well, I need to use this puff for something, and it actually is so great just to use with liquid foundation and concealer. It is such a good puff. Like, I bought it because of the hype, but like really it is so thick and nice, and you'll have heard me talk about this in the Yes Style video as well, so I'm not going to talk about it too much longer, but it is so nice. And I definitely think it is so much more convenient because you don't have to dampen anything in the sponge. So I think from now on, especially if I'm going out somewhere or if I'm traveling, once I start traveling again, I'm just gonna use this puff. It's really nice. I just need to remember to wash it more often, I guess, which I'm also gonna go ahead and use the Pat McGrath Labs concealer as well, just because I haven't used liquid concealer in like literally forever. As you know, I use cream concealer way more often, so I guess I'm gonna kind of just try something new for once. I mentioned a couple months ago how I had such a massive concealer declutter, and I only have 3 liquid concealers left, and even those I don't use often, like at all. I don't know, I just for some reason don't find that it can cover my dark circles the way I want to. And then they like settle into my lines and stuff, so. I did buy the Tarte Creamy Shape Tape Concealer because it was half off for 21 Days of Beauty. I bought Shape Tape for 21 Days of Beauty last year, and then I sold it literally like 2 months later because, oh my gosh, not only did I get the wrong shade, but it completely dried out my under eyes. But the creamy one seemed pretty promising. And like, okay, I don't know why I keep buying liquid concealers because I already know that I tend to gravitate towards pot types anyways. I look online at all these people in their videos and they're able to cover up their dark circles with liquid concealer so well, and I can't. Like, you still can see it. You still can see the shadow. Like, I don't know. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over it with a pot type concealer. I'm gonna be using use these 2 shades as usual. I was going to buy a couple things from 21 Days of Beauty, but I ended up not, because if I did want it, it had already gone out of stock really quickly, or it was just like, oh, it's really disappointing, I don't want anything. I don't know, that this year's 21 Days of Beauty has been pretty lame. Like, I wanted the Samantha March and Ofra highlighter, but that sold out so quickly that by the time I woke up it was gone. And like, I live in Eastern Standard Time, so there's no way in hell I can like stay up till like 2 or 3 in the morning just to wait for something to come in stock online. So if it sells out in a few seconds online, I just kind of have to throw in the towel. And I find that using a puff to kind of gently disperse the concealer helps it kind of just look more blended in as well. Okay, so now I do need to set my face, and I'm gonna set especially my under eyes. I'm gonna go ahead and use the Pat McGrath Under Eye Blurring Powder. I haven't used this in a while, so definitely want to break it out again. The only thing about this is I don't understand why she put in a mirror, because the mirror is literally like useless. It's so small. I mean, you couldn't use it for anything. I'm also just going to use it to kind of set around my eyes as well. And then I'm going to use a different powder for my cheeks and the rest of my face. Okay, so my face is powdered, and as you can see, it mattified it by a little bit, but not too much. Mostly, I just wanted to make sure that nothing is going to crease, especially under my eyes. I do have a friend up here on my forehead, but that's okay, whatever. Moving on to my eyebrows, I'm gonna be using a powder for my eyebrows. So I'm gonna be using this middle shade right here for my eyebrows. This shade has such a big dip in it now, and it's literally just because I use it for my eyebrows. I almost wish she would release it as a single so that I could buy more, because I could totally see myself panning this eyeshadow, and then I'm gonna cry because I can't just buy a whole nother palette just for that eyeshadow. Like, don't get me wrong, the rest of the palette is great, but I just, somehow this ended up being like my perfect eyebrow powder shade. So like, I want to get an actual eyebrow powder, but like, why bother if this one is so perfect? I don't know of any other eyebrow powder that could be anywhere near as good as this color is. And her matte formula is so good that honestly, it looks great on my eyebrows, so why bother? This is definitely a really good like all-in-one for me. I can even take some of the shades and use it to contour like my nose and the rest of my face, so this will definitely be something that travels with me a lot. I'll have to take really good care of it though, because I'd be heartbroken if I broke it. So as you can see, it makes such a subtle but beautiful difference. I really like it. Okay, so that's my eyebrows filled in with the powder, and now I'm gonna use my brow blade as usual to like add the hair-like strokes. I'm using the color Blackout just because the pen is still going, so why not? Okay, so that completes my eyebrows. I'm just going for something, you know, pretty defined, but also not terribly thick or bold at all. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and prime my eyes, and I'm still kind of not really so sure what to do about my eye primer situation. I just can't seem to decide if primers work for me, or like am I just not using the right primer? Like, I honestly can't tell if there's a really big difference or not, but I'll just use this LOUISE one today since my eyelids are a little bit dry. Okay, so my eyes are primed and they just kind of are blanked out now, I guess, so. Okay, so I had to take a minute to decide what palette I'm using, but I actually think I'm gonna go ahead and use the Norvina 3 over here, which is like so big. I have to hold it so weird. I got it when it was half off a while back. I definitely would not buy it full price, and it definitely kind of feels like a hybrid of like fall or spring. It could go either way, so I'm gonna use more of the greens, I think, and we'll see how it goes. I know there's been a lot of mixed reviews about how it actually performs, so if it doesn't turn out, I guess you'll see. Alright, I'm gonna start with the shade E4 down here. It's this yellow. I'm gonna use that just to kind of establish a base. I'm gonna put this more on the inner half of my upper eyelid, I think. And I know I've definitely heard Morgan Turner say this before, but like a bad yellow is not usually a very good sign. So like I said, I'm not really a good quality kind of authority, so I'll just kind of leave you guys to be the judge of whether the yellow is working for me or not. This brush is a little bit big, but all of my good brushes are in the wash, so because I like got super lazy about washing my brushes and now they've just piled up again. I also, you know, my LOUISE base is not like super light colored. It's more of the same color as the color of my actual eyelids, so I would assume if I used a white base it would show up much more. I kind of wish I could like put other eyeshadows in this palette, then I could just use the big mirror. Once the sale hits, I do personally intend on picking up the Circle Local palette, and I actually want to do a thing where I kind of demonstrate how you can use her setup to create full looks, because I know a lot of people were criticizing the arrangement of the palette, saying it's too chaotic, but I personally actually found it to be really fun because the thing about her palettes is she organizes it so you can make a look cross or on the columns. So of course she's not going to put all the same colors on one row or one column. She's going to mix it up so that you kind of can create a varied look with multiple colors in it. So I'm kind of want to pick it up and do a look using each column and maybe even each row, depending on whether I like have the bandwidth to film that many times. It's really expensive and I definitely wish it was in the $65 price point, but after seeing the reviews and especially Temptalia's reviews, I like finally made the decision to add it to my wish list. I also do plan on picking up the Temptalia and Sydney Grace collab whenever she releases it. I'm gonna probably just get the full bundle of all three because I am such a huge Temptalia fan. I find that she is like one of the few that you really can genuinely trust no matter what. I have so few clean brushes left, but anyways, I'm gonna take D3, which is right here. This is like a super grassy green. I don't really have too many shades like this, so. And I'm not using a very dense brush to pack it on, so bear that in mind if it's not super intense. All of my packing brushes are dirty, and I'm just gonna kind of blend these two into each other. And then I'm gonna create the outer shape. That's actually really it's a really pretty green. This is one of the reasons I bought this, was just because I felt like I didn't really have many of the colors in here. I felt the same way about volume 2, but I do not wear blues often at all. I was saying, you know, maybe if it's like 90% off or something, you know, I'll buy it just to finish my collection, but half off, even then I still was wary. I do have volume 1, which was kind of a stupid purchase, but I really like those sunset-y colors, so when both went on sale, I just went ahead and bought both. But I will say volume 1 and the Morphe Jaclyn Hill volume 2 look really similar. I will say if you want like cheaper, then just get the Jaclyn one, I guess. I don't think any of the Mega Norvina palettes are worth full price, so that's why I'm glad I got these on sale. So as you can see, I'm just angling it upwards. I do this shape pretty often, so you definitely have seen it by now, just because I like how it lifts my eyes. So that actually blended out really nicely, but I will say I definitely like feel like past a certain point, there's only so much pigment you can layer onto your eyelid, and then further pigment won't really stick, is kind of the feeling I'm getting from using this eyeshadow. I'm gonna go back in because as expected I kind of lost some of that yellow, so I'm gonna go back in and pack on more yellow. I definitely think this yellow is pretty mediocre. I feel like you can get better from other palettes, particularly indie brands make really good yellows, so if you want a good yellow eyeshadow, I would say or just go ahead and get a single or a palette from an indie brand. Their yellows tend to be a lot better. I've had pretty good luck using the yellow from Menagerie Cosmetics, and of course I know Sugar Pill makes single colors that are super bright too. Alright, I'm gonna take the shade A4, which is like all the way up here. I'm gonna take that on my lower lash line. It's lighter in value and it has a little more yellow in it, so I think it'll add a nice amount of green to my lower lash line without being too dark in value, and it'll also kind of add just a little bit more visual interest to the variety of greens on my eye. So it looks similar and it kind of almost feels like it is a transition between the yellow and the green, but on my lower lash line. So it just kind of brings the two colors together even more. So that's what my eyes are looking like now. I'm now gonna take the shade C1 and I'm gonna kind of push that onto the inner corner of my lower lash line. I did swatch this on my hand and it looked okay on my hand, but we'll see if it can actually adhere to my eyelid. I know a lot of people had a lot of complaints about the metallics and the shimmers in all three Norvina palettes, and you know, some people said that they would swatch really nicely on the hand, but then they just didn't pack on the eyelid. They didn't end up looking very metallic. They look more like a topper. So this just adds some brightness to my lower lash line. I do want to do more 3 Looks 1 palettes with all the palettes I own, but I've noticed when I use older palettes, obviously people aren't really searching for them, so they don't get watched as much, but I do still like doing them, so I'm still going to do them anyways. And I am in the process of kind of slowly paring down my collection, so once I've reached a point where I think I can buy more new stuff, I'll definitely try my best to start staying more up to date. So I'm going to go ahead and put just the littlest bit on my inner corner. It's definitely pretty sheer on the eyelid, that's for sure. So this is what my eyes are looking like now. It's really pretty. I really like it. I kind of want to put a shimmer on top. I'm not so sure what. I might not use this palette for that just because there's no green metallic. I am actually going to go ahead and dip into my gold palette to use my favorite topper shade ever, which is this shade right here, which is super messy because I use it so much. I'm going to use this as a topper on my upper eyelid. It has like a very slight yellow shift to it, so I think it'll be perfect, but it'll still allow the eyeshadow underneath to be visible because it is a topper. If there's one eyeshadow formula I think Korean companies do really well, it is toppers. They kind of call it like a glitter or a pearl finish, so you can kind of see how it adds that glitter, but you can still read the colors, like no base pigment. Definitely gives me kind of like dappled sunlit effects, kind of like the sun is shining through the leaves for sure. So I do have an influencer account and I do review things on there, like all sorts of stuff, makeup, cat food, whatever. And I do sometimes get lucky enough to get boxes, and my most recent Vox box was from a few months ago, and it was for this Lily Lash adhesive liner. Now I have been so interested in trying adhesive liner for months now, ever since Petite Cosmetics came out with theirs, because I thought it would be so convenient for YouTube videos to be able to use this, take the photo, and then take the lashes off. So that's what I've been trying to use these for. So I'm gonna be kind of demoing this for you guys. It's kind of finicky, there's a learning curve, but for those who are looking to just get a quick photo, like, or for just like a short event, I think these are really great. I'm gonna curl my lashes first. And of course, as a disclaimer, I did receive that eyeliner plus a couple of Lily lashes free from Influencer. I received them in exchange for putting a review on their website of all the product. If you have monolids, I'm just gonna say it right here, do not get Lily lashes. They literally go all the way up to my eyebrows and they're so thick. They make me look utterly ridiculous. Like I'd have to be wearing like special effects makeup or something. I'd have to like have my whole face covered in eyeshadow for those lashes to make sense for me. So I do really wish they would make a more like natural series or a series geared towards smaller eyes. It has to be foaming though, of course. The lashes that Influencer sent me were foaming, so that's why I felt comfortable trying them and then posting my review. If they weren't foaming, then obviously I would have never signed up for this Vox box because why? I'm just using this Clinique mascara until I get a new one. I'm gonna be getting one during probably the Sephora Rouge sale. If anyone has really good like volumizing mascaras that really make your lower lashes look like they're like twice as thick, let me know. I do not need lengthening for my lower lashes. I need as much volume as I can handle. I have no lower lashes right now. Like, nothing I can do makes them show up. It's so frustrating. Like, I literally just want to have nice lower lashes. I don't know what I did to deserve such awful lashes. So now that my eyes look practically the same, I'm gonna go ahead and put the eyeliner on. So the only thing about adhesive liner for monolids is that if you just put the eyeliner on and then you just start opening and blinking, your eyelid's gonna like stick to itself, which is really super awkward. So once you have put on the eyeliner, you're definitely going to want to just kind of leave your eyes pretty closed until it becomes tacky, at which point you can put the lashes on. It is a felt tip eyeliner, just so you guys know. It's not brush tip, but it doesn't feel like I'm stabbing my eye, so it's comfortable. And I do not make a wing with this. I only use it on my actual lash line and then I stop. The instructions say to use 2 layers, so that's what I do, is I use 2 layers. And then I'm just gonna sit here and let it become tacky, and I'm gonna just keep on leaving my eye half closed. I'm gonna work on my other eye. For those of you who want to actually use it like an eyeliner and not like a glorified glue, it is black, it is opaque, and it does layer well over eyeshadow. So it is overall a good liner, and it does last all day. Although I don't know if the lashes would stay on all day, especially if it was like windy or something. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and put on the false lashes, and I'm just using the Patrick Ta and House of Lashes collab. And you literally are just putting it on your lash line. I do kind of push it in just to make sure it's really on there. And then I do oftentimes have to go in with a pair of tweezers just to double check that it's down. Okay, so that's what my eyes look like with the lashes on, and because I have monolids, you can't really see the eyeliner, so honestly, it's basically hidden. I'm gonna go ahead and finish my eyeliner with some wings at the end using a brown liquid liner, this time from M Cosmetics. And now I'm just adding the wings, but they're in brown, so they'll be a little more subtle. And I'm just kind of adding the eyeliner in the same angle as my eyeshadow. So you guys know I tend to kind of angle it out more horizontally, but if my eyeshadow is super diagonal, horizontal eyeliner looks really strange, of course. So I'm just gonna follow the angle of my eyeshadow today. And it just, again, is adding just some length and definition to my eyes, nothing dramatic. And then I'm gonna go ahead and draw in some false lashes with the same brown liner. And so now overall you can see my eyes just look a lot fuller and a lot more open. It's really pretty. I'm now gonna go ahead and use a pencil eyeliner just to kind of add that inner corner definition. This is a warm maroon brown, and I'm gonna be mentioning these in my Yes Style video and how I definitely need like all the rest of the brown shades, but this warm brown will actually work really well for this eye look because of the green. So as usual, I'm just putting it on my inner corner, but as usual, I only do it on like the inner third or so. And that's it. You can see that my eyes look more defined now. It really balances out the shimmer that I use. So that's the eyes complete. So I am gonna have just kind of more neutral toned bronzer and blush. And I have been testing this out a lot. The only shade that was left in stock was the Lilac Love Top Tan, but this was perfect because it's not really true lilac, not like in the vein of Korean blushes. It's just a very cool baby pink, and I had mentioned in a previous video that that's like the one shade of blush I don't have. Well, now I have it, and honestly, this is like a really, really good formula. So the only thing about it is that I will say it is super, super sheer, but that kind of has the side effect of I do agree with other reviews saying that shades looked similar. Now this is the only shade I own, and I do want to pick up the other shades, especially once I have the Ulta points to do so that I can kind of see for myself. But based on my experiences with the formulation of this product and everybody else's reviews talking about how similar the different shades look, I think I can definitely agree preemptively with what they're saying, because I can definitely see how shades would look really similar. But this is, as you can see, this is such a nice bronzer color on me. It is ever so slightly warm, but it's honestly still pretty neutral without actually being like amber levels of gray. So I really like this bronzer, and it also still kind of contours my face a little bit. So it's that perfect mix of bronzer and contour, because I don't know how people can do both on one face. I feel like for me it's either I bronze or I contour. I can't do both. And as you can see, it blends out really nicely. I will say it's a little more matte than she was personally advertising. I feel like she was kind of saying these had like a luminosity to them. They come across as a little more matte to me, but it doesn't dry out my skin. It's just a normal powder. It blends out really well, and I don't have any complaints about it being more matte. I like both finishes, so I have no complaints there. So I definitely have been really enjoying this product. So now I'm gonna put on the blush, and I'll show you guys how the blush looks on my skin. You would think it wouldn't work since my skin is olive, but it actually is really super pretty. And it's impossible to mess up the first time you put it on. You just build it up slowly. And you can already see the slight pink flush it's giving to my cheeks. It's actually like super, super pretty. Oh, and the mirror is really nice too. If anyone's wondering, I am not getting any of her lipsticks. I'm not even gonna really consider it, not until they at least come to Ulta, so that I can return them if I don't like them. But also, I have a lip liner I like. I am interested in her lip liners more than her liquid lipsticks, because I find I don't really gravitate towards Western liquid lipstick formulas, so I think her liquid lipsticks would be something I would just kind of ignore until they went on sale. But I am kind of interested in a lip liner or two from her, because I only really have like one or two that I use right now, and I'm interested in more. I'm gonna kind of continue with products. I'm gonna use the highlighter palette. I felt bad about using this in my previous video since it was limited edition and will not be restocked, but now that almost all the shades in here are in singles, you know, I vouch for it. I like it. I think if you want to get the singles, you can, and some of them are even available in minis, so you don't even have to like buy the full size or anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the shade Sparks, which is right here. It's got more of like that pale gold coloration to it, so it'll match with the yellow. As you can see, I'm using a really fluffy brush, so I can't really pack on too much pigment at once, which allows me to diffuse it more. Put some on my chin, a little bit on my forehead, just to kind of make it look more volume. And so now I have a more highlighty inner corner highlight. Lastly is the lips, and I'm gonna line my lips using my ever so favorite lip liner as usual. And I'm gonna just use a more neutral lip today since the eyes are pretty heavy. I'm using a gloss because I'm still getting over my cold sore. This is from MCGRATH Labs, their $12 gloss sale that's been ongoing. I went ahead and bought this. I really want to get more, but I don't know, I just feel like I have enough lips for now. This is like a cooler pink, so I think it'll match the blush color that I laid down. I will say, for gloss formula, I do see why Morgan Turner has been hyping it up so much. This is a beautiful gloss. I've already used it a few times and it definitely makes you want more shades. That being said, you know me, I can't really justify buying a $30 gloss, but $12, yeah. And it's like not sticky and it blurs all your lip lines. I don't know, it's crazy. Okay, so this is my finished look. As you can see, very colorful, but still pretty toned down, especially, I guess, considering me. I showed off a lot of really fun products that I like, and I actually do so far have a pretty good opinion of that Norvina Volume 3, and I do want to use it again. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this gave you guys some kind of springtime inspiration. We kind of have like the spring of deception, and then like winter part 2, and then the fall spring, and then winter part 3 over here, where the temperature just kind of bounces around like a ping pong ball until they finally settle on like spring. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!